Drama never stops. The drama never dies. It never stops. It never dies. It will live on. Probably for all eternity. So Marissa and I are on day 6, going on day 7. Sean, you came for the right one. You came for the right one. So, first I want to say I forgive my brother. All right, I forgive his transgressions against me. I wouldn't want to be my brother. I don't think anybody would want to be my brother. He's not living, a lifestyle that anyone would envy. And he's got a lot of problems. He does. This is not a hate stream. This is just my comments and criticisms. I'm not here to defend myself against any of his lies against me. All right, but I want to kind of put into perspective for you guys what's going on with him. Because he's real fucked up. He's drinking a lot. He's getting like belligerently and blackout drunk almost on a nightly basis at this point. I think most of you guys could see that in the dinner stream from last week. He's going through a real hard time. So, as most of you guys know, he lost the, quote, love of his life, Dreama. And I don't understand any of Andrew's relationships, but that relationship there did not make any fucking sense until Andrew. So Marissa and I went out to Lake Monticello with him, to meet his friend or the love of his life.
Please scan your ticket or scan your monthly card.
And we went out there to just to be supportive.
Drive safely.
Supposedly the woman had cancer and all this kind of thing. Come to find out, she didn't have cancer at all, and she died of congestive heart disease. So she lied to him about having cancer, which is very fucking odd. But it all started to make sense when Andrew told Marissa and I in Lake Monticello that he was, quote, inheriting the house. Right? Oh my God. So, this woman who I believe was manipulating Andrew for what, I'm not exactly sure, to take care of her until her dying day, which is what ended up happening. I don't know. I don't know why she told him he was going to inherit a house. But she told him she was going to leave him the house, right? It wasn't even her house. It was her mother's house. And what she had claimed. This is what Andrew told me and Marissa. She told him that, well, my sisters, because the house was, she had sisters too, 2 other sisters. And the house would have, had to been split up between 3 sisters. And she kept telling Andrew, oh, my sisters don't want the house. But my dad's smart. My dad's an experienced man. And he kept telling Andrew, well, yeah, maybe they don't want the house, but they want the money from the house. Come on, Andrew. My dad warned my brother so many times that something doesn't sound right about this. I don't think you should go to Lake Monticello. I think this is why would some random kid from the internet get this old lady's house. And apparently there was some sort of, according to Andrew, sexual relationship. Again, I don't understand any of my brother's relationships, but when he told us that she had told him he was going to get the house, it all started to make sense. So you notice now Andrew's rhetoric, he never talks about me getting with Marissa for Marissa's inheritance, because now Andrew can't make that argument, you know? He can't make that argument. Because he literally went and shacked up with an old lady who claimed she had cancer, but she didn't actually have cancer, guys. She had congestive heart disease. Why she lied to Andrew about the cancer, who the fuck knows? Maybe cancer sounds more serious. She lied to him about going to... So he ended up... Let me just fast forward here for a moment. The day she died in front of him, he ended up being interrogated by police for 6 hours. My dad and I thought he was going to get arrested for like murder or something. You know, and the family was looking at him all sideways because he's like an interloper, right? And as soon as the family comes over to the house after she died, Andrew, in his arrogance and stupidity, brings up the will, right? This document, I guess, that was forged and wasn't even real. Andrew brings up the will, you know, to the family right after the woman dies, trying to claim the house, you know, over these two sisters and shit. And then he wonders why they treated him badly. He says he was treated badly by the family. Well, what do you expect? You know, you're this interloper from YouTube, trying to get a house out of some woman you're not related to, some woman you're just fucking because you think you can get a house out of it. You know, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he likes bigger, older women. I'm live, Marissa. Yeah, it was real. Honestly, especially after Andrew made those claims about me, with Marissa, you know, my dad warned him. My dad said, do not go there. You know, this doesn't sound right. Yeah, she's telling you the sisters don't want the house, but they want to sell the house and they want the money from the house, right? The whole thing just did not make any freaking sense, you know? It didn't make any sense. And, you know, he's going through a hard time right now. He lost his inheritance. The will wasn't real. Nothing Dreama told him was real. And I could tell, you know, I mean, she was nice enough, guys. Like, I met her several times. God rest her soul. But I could tell, I mean, you could look at her, look into her eyes on these videos she used to make. I mean, something's not right. Something's not right. Andrew wants to talk about witches and stuff. You know, this woman obviously had some sort of spell over Andrew, maybe a financial spell. Who fucking knows? What possesses a man, you know, of 32, 33 years old to go out into the middle of nowhere and shack up with an old lady in the hopes of inheriting a house, right? What possesses a man to do that? Materialism. You know, greed, selfishness. My brother can be one of the most selfish individuals I have ever known. So I'm just, you know, again, this is not a hate stream. This is just my comments and criticisms. I'm not angry at my brother. I'm not, you know, I forgive him for his transgressions against me, but I'm trying to give you guys some context into what's going on with him. He's very upset right now. He did watch a lady who he claims he cared about. Whether or not he cared about her or not, who knows? I guess only they know that. But she obviously didn't care that much about him if she was lying to him about having cancer, because he got confirmation from the lady's family that she did not have cancer, that she was a known liar. The family even told him, and this was after his interrogation, his 6-hour-long interrogation. The family had even told him that he the family told him that she at one point had lied about having twins and told everybody that she had had them aborted. So why would Andrew never have heard that, right? The woman didn't tell him that. And Andrew automatically blames the family and says, oh, the family must have been lying to me and all this kind of shit. Yeah, well, if that's true, then how come you know she lied about the cancer? Why'd she lie to you about that? So if she lied to you about that, don't you think she possibly could have lied or omitted, just completely left things out of other areas of her life? And supposedly she was some kind of school teacher or something. She didn't have any of her own kids. I don't know if I believe that. I think she came from a fucking mental institution 4 years ago after a long-term release. That's my suspicion. And Andrew just happened to, be the victim. Like, what would she want from Andrew? Maybe, she knew she had this congestive heart failure or whatever, and she knew she was going to die. She was being told she was going to die. Maybe she was embarrassed about the congestive heart failure. Andrew even said, like, maybe she was, like, kind of embarrassed about her real condition because it was probably brought on through diet and everything. This is a lady Andrew met online maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He was gassing this woman up. You know how Andrew is. He says, everybody's beautiful. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It could be the fucking elephant man, and Andrew would try to convince them they're beautiful when objectively they're not. And Andrew just got wrapped up in, he wants to talk about witches. I think this woman was a witch, right? Nice enough, God rest her soul, met her several times, but very manipulative, definitely had cast some sort of evil spell on Andrew, and sort of dangled inheritances in his face like a carrot, like a carrot. Like Andrew was like a mouse, and he got a whiff of cheese, a whiff of like a really big piece of cheese, and as mice do, they followed him into the trap. So what was the trap? Well, Andrew ended up, to what extent he was taking care of her, I don't even want to think about it. But it didn't sound like she was mobile. She was hardly mobile when we went to go see her in Lake Monticello. And yeah, even though I thought the whole thing was weird, I thought the relationship was very strange. I didn't want to know about the sex life part or anything about that. But he had admitted to Marissa at some point that he was in love, that Dreama was his soulmate, and then Dreama made this weird comment about giving him a massage one time. Very fucking bizarre. Very bizarre. This lady was 60 something years old, 65 I think. Andrew's 33. Obviously he's there for an inheritance, right? Nothing else makes sense. So when he told me in Lake Monticello, he was like, yeah, Dreama wants to give me this house. At the time I wasn't in a position to really, fucking start an argument or anything about it, but in my mind I was like, oh, okay, that's why you dragged us out to Lake Monticello. Lake Monticello is disgusting, by the way, guys. There's E. coli in that lake. You can't even go swimming in it. And there's a bunch of pollution from different factories and stuff. And Andrew was going to move out there. He was going to quit his job, and he was going to move out there, to take care of this woman till her last dying day, which is exactly what he did. Now, whether or not there was something, some kind of, I don't think there was any foul play or anything like that. Of course, I wasn't there on his second trip, but he had basically, my dad was like, Andrew, you can't quit your job and go out there and take care of a woman you don't even know. And he was like, yeah, she keeps telling you the sisters don't want the house. Well, they want the money from the house, Andrew. Andrew wouldn't fucking listen. So the day it actually happened, the day she died in front of him, and I don't think it was foul play, but I think in a way she may have made herself go sooner or something, in the most brutal and tragic way she possibly could have, because apparently there was blood everywhere. How the blood got everywhere, Andrew can't exactly explain that, but there was blood everywhere is how he described it. I mean, he talks about it in his video, you know, and there's definitely some holes in his story. He talks about how you know, as she was like sort of gasping for air, and she's having some sort of congestive heart failure, right? Andrew's thinking it's cancer the whole time. Apparently she told Andrew, no, don't call the EMS, don't call anybody. If I go, I go. And it's a good thing Andrew did not listen to her, because if he had just let her pass and let her rot for a day or two and then call police, that would have looked even worse. You know, like seriously, guys, my dad and I, we thought Andrew was going to get arrested for some sort of, murder investigation with some kind of motive. They interrogated him for 6 hours. And then they made him stand outside of the house later. They brought him back to the house, made him pace back and forth the house while they were doing the investigation, because he had a bunch of stuff inside the house. And he wonders why the family didn't treat him well. Well, you're like an interloper, imagine. I'm trying to come up with an analogy for this, but I've never been in that kind of situation. It'd be like it'd be like I can't even, there's no analogy there, because the whole thing is just very, very bizarre. It's very bizarre. I didn't judge Andrew's relationship, but I knew when he told me that he was quote unquote inheriting a house, right? I was like, oh, okay. This is why Andrew's, messing around with this old lady and dragging Marissa and I out to go meet this old lady. And now that we know she lied to him about cancer, that she lied about a lot of things, but to lie about cancer, I think that's pretty bad. Maybe she felt like Andrew wouldn't have gone out there to be with her on her last few weeks, because she obviously knew she was on the way out. But maybe Andrew wouldn't have gone out there if she had just told him it was congestive heart disease or something, because it just doesn't sound as serious as cancer, the truth is Andrew's going through a real rough time. I mean, yeah, watching the lady die is pretty bad, but also being told you're going to inherit a house, being told you're going to come into all this, all this wealth, and then the whole thing was a lie, right? Like what Andrew told me and Marissa a couple, the day it happened. He said, I felt like I was told to go out there and set up to fail. That's what he said. He said he felt like Dreama set him up to fail. And then he was angry at my dad, me, and Marissa for not talking him out of it. Now, I'm not like a weirdo. I don't fucking screen record and audio record people's messages and phone calls and stuff like that. So if you guys don't believe me, you don't believe me. I don't care. But Andrew knows what he told Marissa and I, and he was like, I wish, really, like I was talking to him on the phone when he made the 3-hour drive back to from Lake Monticello. He told us on the phone, he was like, I wish, and Dad, you or Marissa had talked some sense into me and told me not to go out there. And it's like, you can't talk sense into Andrew. Like once he wants to fucking do something, once he wants to he's got his mind set on something, you can't talk him out of it. My dad has tried talking him out of starting online drama with Marissa and I. He's tried talking sense into Andrew, not talking to people that are, obviously don't have his good, have good intentions for him, me, or anybody else. But Andrew's kind of gullible sometimes. Obviously, he's gullible. You know, so what ended up happening with his quote unquote inheritance, all right, is that the sisters did want the house. The sisters claim that Dreama never owned the house, that Dreama just sort of came in about a year ago and moved all her stuff into the mother's house after the mother had passed away, which makes me really wonder. I mean, was Dreama really like some sort of teacher, or did she get out of like a mental institution or something? I think the whole story Dreama gave Andrew and gave us was pretty much a lie. Andrew knows that she lied about the cancer. Andrew knows that she lied about the inheritance, right? She even went so far to lie and tell Andrew that he that the sisters had sold their shares of the house, right? Um, which makes absolutely no sense. It would be like Andrew and I inheriting, from our father. I mean, my father doesn't have a house, but let's say we inherited like, I don't know, $1 million cash or something. Or let's say $250,000 cash. And then all of a sudden I say, "Oh, I don't want my half of the inheritance. Andrew, you can have it and you can give it to, your girlfriend." Like that wouldn't make any fucking sense. Obviously, I would want my part of the inheritance. So my dad kept bringing this up to Andrew and was like, "Andrew, this just doesn't make sense, and she even went so far as to send him some sort of document that was supposed to be a will. And like up the stream, guys, make sure to leave a comment down below. Even if you've watched the stream or if you're watching the replays, leave a comment down below. It definitely helps us out. She sent him a will or a document that was obviously not legitimate, because originally Andrew had asked Marissa and I to be witnesses for this new will. But I told Andrew, I was like, "Andrew, I don't really want to get involved in this. And like, if Marissa and I are witnesses and you do end up having problems with the family contesting this new will, it won't look so good for you if Marissa and I are witnesses. So why don't you see if you can get Dreama to get a couple other witnesses?" So that's what ended up happening. Dreama did get some other witnesses, supposedly, and then sent Andrew a copy of this document, which obviously didn't end up being real because I don't know if I don't know exactly if Andrew said something like he told the family, "Well, if you're not going to honor Dreama's wishes, I'm not going to fight you on it." But if it's a legitimate document and he had like a new will, there would be nothing to fight. It would be the family that would have to contest the will, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? The family would have to be the one to contest. Andrew doesn't have to fight if the will is legitimate. But he was going to end up in the court system. He was going to end up having to hire a lawyer and, probably parting with 30% of his inheritance and all that. My dad said when Andrew was still in Lake Monticello, just fucking wash your hands with it and come back home before you end up in jail. I was like legitimately worried Andrew was going to end up in jail. I thought they were going to arrest him on like a murder charge with, with the motive that he was trying to get money out of this woman. And, because apparently she had fallen, according to Andrew. And again, I don't think there's any foul play here. Some people have trolled about that or whatever, but trolls are trolls, right? They'll say anything they want. but she had fallen and like busted all of her teeth or something. The way Andrew describes it was like, he said it would look like a murder scene. That's what he said. So did she purposefully um, hurt herself in one of the most like, cruel ways to do to Andrew, and sort of willed a heart attack on herself or something? I don't know. Nobody will know. Nobody knows what the hell went on in that house. We get little sneak peeks of Andrew, talking about mayonnaise and how Duke's mayonnaise tastes better than like Andrew's asking her this question in this one clip. What is it that you like about Duke mayonnaise? As she just sort of, responds, the taste. Well, yeah, obviously. What else are you gonna like about mayonnaise? You use mayonnaise for taste, right? I hate fucking mayonnaise, honestly. But these weird videos where Andrew's cooking dinner for her and waiting on her hand and foot, and it's like, he's doing all this because he thinks he's gonna get a house out of it. There's no other motivation, you know, unless Andrew actually, saw her as a viable long-term marriage prospect, which is doubtful because she told him she had terminal cancer. So, the idea that Andrew went out there with the hopes of having like a long-term relationship, a long-term, marriage prospect. I mean, she was too old past the point of having kids. That's unlikely, you know. I mean, if that's what Andrew wanted, he could have just found, a younger fat woman out here. There's plenty of them walking around. Because Andrew's into like the fat ladies, the big girls or whatever. But yeah, just that her family told Andrew that, Dreama was a known liar. And again, God rest her soul, but I knew something was fishy the whole fucking time. I knew something was fishy the whole time. I knew he wasn't going to get a fucking house. I knew he wasn't going to get one share of the house. And this is why he sort of backed off on making the claims that I had gotten with Marissa for money and all this kind of stuff. Because this is what he was saying like 6, 7, 8 months ago. He can't say that anymore, right? Because he would be a hypocrite. He literally did shack up with a woman for supposed inheritance. That never came through. And he had to deal with her extremely tragic death, the traumatizing way that she went. Andrew made some other comment that she told him one time, if we ever have to go to the ER or whatever, don't tell them about cancer, because if you do, it's a whole nother ball game. What? So Andrew's lashing out on social media. He's lashing out at my father. He's lashing out at the people at his job. His job, they were very upset with him because he had left for like, he was planning on leaving indefinitely to go be with Dreama. And Dreama had sisters, right? That were how'd she pass congestive heart failure, and there was no cancer. The family told him Dreama didn't have cancer, that Dreama was a known like liar. And one of the last things the niece had told Andrew was, because Andrew claims the family like treated him really badly and didn't invite him into the house, and left him pacing around when he got back from the police station, waiting for his stuff. But it's like, and you got to understand from a family's perspective, he was like an interloper, just some random kid from the internet that's trying to, take their inheritance. I mean, how would you feel, right? My dad had talked to Andrew about this, and Andrew didn't listen. But the niece came out eventually and gave Andrew a hug, and had told Andrew, I'm sorry you got caught up in Dreama's lies. And Andrew still thinks the family could be lying to him and is believing, Dreama's story. So yeah, again, not hating on Andrew. I forgive Andrew for his transgressions against me. I'm just trying to put into context for you guys what's going on with Andrew. He's drinking a lot. He's obviously not sober. Um, if he was sober, he wouldn't be making decisions like he's been making the past few months, going back and forth to Lake Monticello. He would have seen this sort of trap. And he wants to talk about witches and stuff, right? Um, but the real witches are the ones that Andrew's actually engaging with. The real witches are the women that are, putting these spells on Andrew, and whether it's um, uh, money or other promises. He's very gullible, and he falls for a lot of bullshit. My brother's, I don't want to say he's not bright, because he is. He's academically bright. He's well read. He's a good, student. But when it comes to common sense, my brother doesn't have a lot of that. When it comes to the type of knowledge you need just to, get up out of the nest, my brother doesn't have any of that. Yeah, I've had to move back in with my parents, or move back in with my father and stuff, but I've always found a way to leave the nest, so to speak. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for 4 years. I've lived on my own in Syracuse. I lived in LA for 5 years. Andrew's never done that. He's never left the nest, right? It's a shame he gives my dad such a hard time, especially when he's like drinking too much, because my dad does a lot to support him. My dad does a lot to support me too, but I'm not like bashing my dad and saying mean things to him. My brother hasn't been treating my dad very well at all, and my dad's always just tried to help him. My dad's just trying to steer him in a good direction. But Andrew's really angry. He's really angry that he went to Lake Monticello basically for nothing. That Dreama, in his words, set him up to fail. Dreama did not communicate with the sisters at all about this supposed new will, which was not a legitimate document. Anyways, if it were, Andrew would have received at least a third of the house. He's not going to receive anything. They did not invite him to Dreama's funeral. And Dreama lied to Andrew about a bunch of stuff, including having cancer. She did not have cancer. Dreama lied to the whole internet about having cancer. She did not have cancer. She had congestive disease. I don't know why she would lie about it, but I guess when you tell somebody, oh, I have terminal cancer, it just sounds more like of an emergency. You have to get here and be with me. I think how Dreama did Andrew was pretty dirty. Again, I don't really know or understand that relationship. Well, I didn't until the whole talk of the will came up. It's pretty dark shit. I know my brother's not capable of doing anything crazy like that for money, but it was a dangerous situation for him. I mean, he could have been arrested. The family and the police could have like seriously looked at him as some sort of suspect. He claims he's still worried that one of these days he's gonna get a knock at the door from police. I think he's really paranoid right now about that. I don't think he has anything to worry about, but when we talked to him last Tuesday or whatever, he before he got super belligerently drunk, he did admit that he was concerned about that. He was concerned that he may still be under investigation and doesn't even know it. And again, from the family's perspective, they lose their sister, and the day they lose their sister, this interloper from YouTube is there trying to collect the will. I mean, I can't believe Andrew brought it up that day, right? He should have just been supportive, done what he could for the family. And then, you know, the way Andrew describes it is he was like, well, I have this will that Dreama wrote up. It's like, oh my God. Anyways, yeah, I forgive Andrew, though. I forgive him for his transgressions against me. You know, Marissa's a little still upset at some of the things Andrew's done and continues to do. But I keep telling Marissa, you know, you just gotta let Andrew do what he does. He's gonna fuck around and find out, you know. And in this scenario, he did. He fucked around and he found out real quick. You know, he spent gas money going there. He you know, again, to what extent he had to take care of her, I don't even want to think about it. But he did go up there. But was it like a selfless deed? Absolutely not. He was told he was going to receive a very big inheritance. He was told he was going to receive a house that was worth maybe $300,000. He was told he was going to receive, you know, an IRA, retirement fund, you know, or the proceeds from that. Andrew really thought this was his chance where he was like going to come into some really big money. You know, and he was a mouse, and he got a whiff of some cheese, and that's what mice do. They walk into really stupid traps just for a piece of cheese. So, I mean, the moral of the story, guys, is money is not everything. There's usually always strings attached with money. We've been very good to Andrew. We've supported Andrew throughout all of his relationships. You know, but Andrew's relationships are, I mean, if you think my relationships are fucked up, Andrew's relationships are even more fucked up. At least none of my ex-girlfriends or anything or have like had me arrested and thrown in jail. You know, Andrew was dating this fat girl a few years ago, and when I say fat girl, I'm not being mean. That's you know, that he likes fat girls. That's what he's a chubby chaser. Okay, but anyways, she broke up with him over the alcohol stuff, and he just went into a rage and started harassing her. This is another thing. My brother goes into like simp psychosis over these women, and he just started harassing the woman and you know, calling her all sorts of racial epithets, and it was pretty bad. But she had him arrested on Christmas Eve about 3 or 4 years ago on like harassment and stalking charges. My dad had to hire a lawyer to get Andrew out of that. You know, but yeah, my brother like spent a night in jail on stalking and harassment charges. And we had to go to court for that several fucking times. What a mess that was. I mean, stalking and harassing a woman who's like objectively not, you know, objectively not beautiful. But, you know, these are... And I have a theory about that, too. Before I close this stream out, I have a theory about that, too. You know, Andrew's been cheated on before, and he's gone back to the woman that cheated on him. One time, this girl even gave him crabs, and he went back to her. This is the period pad woman. If you guys remember the period pad video, this is the girl I'm talking about. Some of y'all will get that joke. Well, it's not a joke, but some of y'all will get that reference. If you don't want to know. But you know, this woman did a number on Andrew. He dated her for like 6 years. She cheated on him 3 fucking times, and he kept going back. All right, and But my theory about this whole chubby chasing, into the big girls thing, I think Andrew, because he feels rejected and he has such low self-esteem, he goes after girls that society, like just in general, sort of like rejects, right? And I don't think it's an attraction thing, right? I mean, obviously, let's just be honest here. With the Dreama situation, a third, and Andrew's not a bad looking guy. He's not. He's not as handsome as me, right? But he's not a terrible looking guy. The idea that, a man of Andrew's age and looks would be attracted sexually to Dreama, it's impossible. I cannot make that. I cannot suspend my disbelief long enough to actually buy into that. Okay, so what it is he has absolutely no self-esteem. He has no self-confidence, right? He has no self-confidence to try to get a girl that kind of matches up with him physically, that's at least on the same level with him physically. Andrew could do much better, right? He could do a lot better, but he doesn't. And it's not an attraction thing. It's he doesn't have the self-confidence to pull in a girl that just, based on his looks, he deserves and could hold down. And it was from this relationship, a long time ago where, the girl literally gave him crabs and he went back to her. Talk about simpocalypse, man. Oh, man. So, yes, I just want to put some context for you guys into what Andrew's doing, why he's doing it, what's going on with him behind the scenes. And Marissa and I are out here. We're trying to get our lives together. We're getting clean. We're trying to undo, how much damage we've done to our lives the past year. And you've got Andrew and other people out here that are claiming to care about me, and they don't give a shit. They just want views. They want clout. And I get it. They want that Marlowe-verse clout, baby. I get it. But to go, especially like right now, the timing of it is just fucking rude, and Marissa's a very, like, she can be a kind of a fragile person, we're on day 6 going into day 7 of getting clean, and Andrew's still up to his usual bullshit. So I don't believe Andrew cares whether I'm clean or not. At this point, he just wants some sort of clout or attention or something. Well, you want attention, bro? I gotta try to put it into context for our viewers what the hell is going on with you. So, yeah, did Dreama lie to Andrew? 100%. He got this from the family. There was no fucking cancer. That's just not true. And Andrew's, whether or not he knew, I think Dreama did lie to Andrew, but Andrew's, making me and Marissa feel like bad and like, oh, this lady's got cancer. We should go out and see her. And she really has congestive heart disease, from eating too much or eating the wrong things. She lied to him about the sisters not wanting the house. She even told him the sisters sold their shares of the house to her. Not true at all. She told Andrew he was going to receive a $300,000 house in a gated community with a housing association, and he was going to receive IRA or stock funds or something like that. None of it's true. he ain't getting a dime for watching that lady go. And, you know, she's blessed that she wasn't alone when she did go. But, like, did it have to be Andrew there? I mean, she had sisters. The sisters were taking her to her appointments. The sisters did check up on her almost every single day. You know, Andrew makes the claim that, like, oh, well, what if she was up there alone and had died? You know, nobody would have found her for 3 days. No, the sisters would have called her phone. She wouldn't have answered. They would have wondered, well, what the hell's going on? They would have gone over there and they would have found her. You know, Andrew didn't have to, you know, leave his job for 2 weeks and put himself through all the emotional trauma that he went through, you know. Andrew got duped. He got duped. I feel bad for him. I do. Like, I really do feel bad for him. I don't think there's a real man in these chats that would trade places with Andrew ever, you know. You know, and is this going to turn into a, you know, a 6-month-long parade of Andrew dressing up in Marissa's clothes that Marissa gave him, you know, putting on Marissa's bras and dresses and shit to try to, you know, escape, you know, through drag and alcohol. Let's hope not. Okay, let's hope not. But I'm afraid if Andrew doesn't find a girlfriend, he's, you know, going to end up following through with his plans to, you know, cross over, shall we say. Not cross over to the other side, but cross over to the other gender. I don't particularly want that for Andrew. You know, I don't think Marissa gave him panties. I joke around about that. Andrew, you know, putting on Marissa's thong. I don't think Marissa gave him panties, but Marissa had some dresses she wasn't wearing. She had a couple extra bras she wasn't wearing. And Andrew wanted them. You know, Andrew wanted my fiance's, you know, hand-me-downs for his drag skit. All right. But I don't think they were, you know, I don't think they were, you know, I don't think it was underwear. I hope not. Marissa, if you gave him underwear, I don't even know what to say about that. But yeah, you know, Marissa just has a lot of extra clothes she doesn't want. And Marissa was like being supportive of Andrew's, you know, I would call it degeneracy. Other people would call it his feminine side, you know, and Marissa was being supportive of it. You know, Marissa's done nothing but like be supportive of that kid, you know. Yeah, well, is it a kink? I don't know if it could be a kink, you know. Does he get off thinking about himself, you know, while he's dressed up in women's clothes? I don't know. I don't want to know. But I don't believe he was like in Lake Monticello for anything other than an inheritance. I think he put up with, you know, probably that woman's molestations because he was told he was going to come out real good. You know, but what if she hadn't gone as soon as she went and it went, you know, I'm like, again, God rest her soul, but I'm angry at Dreama for lying to my brother. I'm angry at Dreama because, like, I saw through it the whole time. You know, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Trash her to Andrew? Like, and then Andrew just gets mad at me and talks a bunch of shit about me on the internet. You know? I wish I would have said something to Andrew, though. I really do. I mean, that was what he told us on the phone the night he came back. He was like, I wish you or Dad or Marissa had talked me, you know, out of going there. He was like, it was the worst day of my life. I was set up to fail. I should have never gone out there, bro. That's what he told me. Some sick shit. I mean, some sick shit to go out there, but it's also some sick shit to, you know, dupe a young man like that and tell him, you know, you're going to inherit my house after I die. I'm giving it to you. And it's like a forged document that's illegitimate that the courts will never fucking, you know, honor. Like I said, my dad kept saying, Andrew, sure, the sisters don't want the house, right? They already have their own house. But they're going to want the money, right? They're going to want the money from the house. And Andrew wants to make the claim like, oh, when somebody dies, all the family's true colors come out. But like, imagine your sister passing away, and your sister lives in a house that had belonged to your all's mother. And the mother, in her will, left the house or the sale of the house to you and your sister and maybe your other sibling. And then this interloper from YouTube, this weirdo that makes, body positivity videos and drag videos and, metal band drama videos, comes in. He's there when your sister dies, and as you guys are sitting down to talk about what happened, he pulls out, a piece of paper that claims he owns the house. I mean, how would you feel? How would you feel? I wouldn't want that motherfucker around either. I wouldn't want that motherfucker at my, sibling's funeral either. He never did get invited to the funeral. He's not going to receive an inheritance. And I think he's grieving the loss of Dreama, obviously. He's probably angry. I think he's in the angry stage of grief, He's also angry because he's coming to the realization that Dreama lied to him. But I knew she was lying to him. I wish I would have said something to Andrew. I really do. I regret that. I feel like I did my brother wrong by not talking to him, like, just truthfully. She was nice enough, don't get me wrong, but like, you go over and look at her channel. I mean, that red hair, the dyed fire truck engine red hair, and a distant crystally look in her eyes. I mean, I don't know. I suspect she came from a mental institution. That's my suspicion. Andrew claimed she was some sort of school teacher. I think that was a lie too. Can you all move in together and then split the rent so you have content and less costs? I would do it. I would do it, Sean. Even after everything Andrew's done to me, I would, if he would agree, I would do it, But I don't need him in the same house to be in the Marloverse, Andrew's in the Marloverse, whether he wants to claim it or not, just by default being my brother, and the fact that most of his subscribers came from my channel anyway. But I would do it. I would do it, Or like, a 6-month-long tour across the United States in an RV or something. I think it'd be funny. Like she ran a daycare. Yeah, something like that. I don't believe it. Yeah, she ran a daycare. I've heard, Andrew's told me so many different versions of the story. She was a school teacher. She was a first grade teacher. No, she taught fourth grade. No, she had a daycare. She worked at a daycare. She had her own daycare. I think the woman escaped from, like, I don't know, some sort of institution for the criminally insane. Again, God rest her soul, but at the time it was just like, you don't want to crush your brother's dreams. Well, Andrew wants to crush my dreams, but like a normal person, and I'm not normal, but like a normal brotherly type of, love, familia, I think is what it is in Greek. You don't want to crush your brother's dreams, right? But I did him wrong by not talking him out of all of that. So if he is angry at me, I'm sorry. I should have talked him out of that. Her last work was for a tax office. Sure. Yeah. Sure. I mean, she couldn't even walk from the car to her front door. And I'm supposed to believe she had a job as a tax agent. I mean, come on. Come on. Oh, I didn't, Sean, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's funny, though. My brother's with some Indian woman. He blocked me since over a year ago. Why? Did you say something bad about the Indian woman? Um, is it filio? Is that what it is? Filio? I thought it was familia, but there's different words for all kinds of love in Greek. You know, the Greeks have like over 7 words for love. You have agape, which is just humanity love, godly love. You got eros, which is, you know, more what a man would feel between a woman. But it can't all be eros. There has to be agape there as well. For politely warning him, basically. But that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. That is unfortunate. Thank you, Hitman. Thank you. We're staying strong. We're gonna have to stay strong through all this bullshit we're waking up to today, but just another day in the Marloverse, right? We need to find Andrew a young virgin to marry. I mean, Raquel is available. I know a Portuguese virgin, but I don't know. We'd have to somehow. I don't know how to break the spell. She claims I have over her, but maybe we could send Andrew to Portugal, and he can take Raquel off my hands. How about that? I don't know. I don't have time to watch it. It's, you know, I was just informed that Andrew, you know, still trying to wreck my life as usual. She was driving in the morning and recording it. She took a photo from the office. Yeah, well, Anika, the thing is like I went out there with Andrew months before Andrew went back out there. I never heard about this tax job, you know. I never heard about it. She took a photo from the office. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see that. And I was never told she was a tax agent. I was told she worked, she had a daycare that she ran. That's what I was told. All right. And Andrew was also told that she was a known liar. She even lied about having twins and having an abortion. Okay. So I don't know anything about that. Can you sing a church song for us? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. I forgot all the rest of the words, but now I'm lost, but someday I'll be found. I don't know the lyrics to that. How about as I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the thorny crown? Good Lord, show me the way. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the thorny crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Come on, brothers, let's go down down in the river to pray. Or is that a good church song for you? Is that a good church song for you? You know, Anika, maybe you're naive, maybe I'm naive. We'll never fucking know. We'll never know. I'm just relaying to you, you know, this isn't about Dreama. This is about Andrew and what's going on with him and why he's so angry. He's in the anger stage of grief. He's angry about being lied to. He's angry about being set up. He's angry he's not going to receive this inheritance he's promised. He's angry that I can hold down a relationship and he can't. He's angry that I'm living out on my own and he can't. He's angry that he's dressing up in drag and I'm not, okay? He's an angry kid. He's fucking angry. And he holds resentments, he holds grudges, he drinks too much. He's got a reservation to drink tonight. I bet he's getting trashed on a Sunday night. I guarantee you, he's getting trashed on a Sunday night. Yeah, I've got my issues. I've got my drug problems. But because his drug of choice is alcohol, it's okay, right? My drug of choice is not alcohol. So I'm a terrible, you know, evil crackhead, right? Marissa and I, we're doing the best we possibly can do now. We haven't done this well in a long time, you know, and you know, people have tried to help Andrew. People in Marissa's life have been very nice to Andrew. If, you know, Andrew just wants to burn all of his bridges and live alone, you know, but at this point, like, you know, Andrew is going to be, hold on a second. Marissa keeps blowing up my phone. You know, if Andrew doesn't stop this shit, he's, you know, I mean, we don't even want him in the apartment anymore, you know. We don't even want to bring him into the apartment anymore. You know, we just can't trust him. You know, how many times does a snake have to bite before you before you just say, before you just wash your hands of it, you know? Hey, baby, you all right? I'm on live.
Oh, you are? Okay. Are you doing deliveries?
No, I'm not. I'm talking to the live stream, trying to give them some context into why Andrew is, you know, so angry these days. I tried to shed some light on the, you know, the fact that he's not receiving that inheritance, that he was lied to, that,
Right.
you know, we were lied to, and, you know, Andrew's in the anger stage of grief right now. You know,
Yes.
It's not a hate stream on Andrew. You know that, Marissa. I've got nothing but love for my brother. I forgive him for his transgressions against me. You know, I just want, you know, I want people to understand, have a little bit more context into what's actually going on here, because it doesn't have anything to do with you and me. You know that. It's, you know, it's that situation in Lake Monticello. And you remember, Andrew told us on the phone, he was angry at us that we didn't talk him out of it. You know?
I know.
But you can't talk Andrew out of anything. You can't talk him out of anything.
Right. I know.
So
it's just sad that the way he's taking it out on us, kind of, you know?
It's sad for him, yes. You know, it is sad for him. You know, because it's at the point now we don't even want him in the apartment. We don't even, you know, want him. We can't trust him, you know? We can't trust him. And he's not he hasn't shown any sort of you know, loyalty or you know, he obviously
the fact of the matter is he's been completely brainwashed and manipulated by, you know, other parties.
Yes, absolutely.
And he and I feel like part of him wanted to join the hate train anyways, because he had like anger against us to begin with. So
yes.
You know,
he's angry at us, I think, mostly for not talking him out of Lake Monticello. I think he deep down inside blames me for not speaking up. And I, in the stream, I talked about that. I'm very upset with myself. I feel like I did do my brother wrong by not explaining to him that, like, listen, this woman is probably lying to you. You're not going to receive an inheritance. If she does have
Right.
sisters, they do want the money from the house. And my dad did try to explain this to him. So I think he's
Right.
really resenting me for that. At least now, though, he can't come at me with the accusations that I ever got into a relationship for money, because he would be a fucking hypocrite if he did.
Right. I know. It's sad.
All right, guys, listen, I'm going to get off the live stream here. I'm going to go meet Marissa for some lunch. I appreciate you all watching. If you're watching the replay, please do leave a comment down below. Give the stream a like. I went to a job.
Guys.
I went to a job interview on Friday. I'm supposed to hear back Monday, so I'll let you guys know how that goes.
I know. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you get it.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I mean, I worked there before and I left on good terms, so they had actually called me a few months ago. Remember, I had mentioned this a few times. They called me a few months ago, and so it looks like I'm going to go back to driving a forklift. But we'll see. I got to haggle over the hourly rate a little bit and
of course.
get recertified. But I mean, I know how to have a forklift. But anyways, Marissa, let's I'm going to turn the stream off. Let's figure out where we're going to go for lunch. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the stars be aligned in your favor.
From Earth to infinity.
Yay!
Yay!
Our baby.